Good morning, beloveds. We are finishing up the month of November. It is also 64 degrees in my house, and my cats are really clingy, so we'll see what happens during this live stream. They wear fur coats, and yet they're cold. Okay. All right. So, November 30th, our title is Giving. Of course, we're going to end November with giving. And our Bible quote is, "Give, and it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down, and shaken together, and running over." And that is from Luke 6:38. All right. We all wish to receive, but how many of us desire to give? If, as Jesus intimated, receiving is the other end of giving, then the more we give, the more we shall receive. Who loses his life shall find it. We should give the best that we have to one another and to the world. This gift of life is made without effort. It is a complete abandonment of the self to life, a conscious letting go of all of the tight strings of our being, a loosening of the divine gifts within us. Only when we have learned to give all will we be in a position to receive all. Today, I give myself unstintingly to life. I unloose the well springs of my being and make a complete deliverance of the self to life. This I do spontaneously and with joy, withholding nothing. I will not do this with any hope of reward, but in the glad joy of the opportunity to increase my own livingness. Everything that I have belongs to the world. Giving, I will receive the world back into my own consciousness. From the Science of Mind text, today is good, tomorrow will be even better. And that vista of tomorrow that stretches down the bright eternities of an endless future will all be good, for the nature of reality cannot change. And that is from page 471. Yeah, I'll admit it. November's been hard. November's been hard. And I think that when Ernest set November together, or when the editor, who was the editor? Okay. Honestly, when they sat down and selected the readings for this, and they looked at November, and they're like, okay, let's set up November as the month of Thanksgiving, and let's choose readings that and title them with things that we can be grateful for. If you do not have a concordance, I would strongly suggest getting a concordance. The best thing about having a concordance to the Science of Mind text is you look up any word that you want, and it will tell you page numbers that word is mentioned on in the textbook. It's not for all of Ernest Holmes stuff. It's just for the textbook. But it's very helpful, especially if you are writing a talk or whatever, doing whatever, and you're like, okay, well, what did Ernest Holmes have to say about this? And so you look them up, and he has a lot to say about a lot of things. I think I counted. It was like one day I was comparing two different words, and he's like, he mentioned one word like 19 times and one like 22. So, or no, sorry, he mentioned one word 9 times and the other one like 22. The concordance is very helpful if you want to have any idea what Ernest thought about any particular thing. And then you just go back and read around, because it'll tell you the page number and the paragraph. And then you just read the paragraph and go, oh, okay, so that's what Ernest thought about that when he wrote the textbook. And so it is a good gift to give to yourself or to other people. When I graduated from the Holmes Institute, my the Denver campus gave us beautiful leather bound with our names imprinted in gold, embossed in gold on them. And I've discovered recently, well, within the last 6 months, there's a concordance in the back of it. I mean, it's printed on that Bible paper, that onion thin paper. So while my original textbook is like this is this, and it still has the concordance in it. So if you don't have a concordance, I would suggest getting a concordance to go with your textbook. And then that way, if you have this thought, well, what did Ernest have to say about giving or illumination or any of the other things that we have talked about for the month of November, then you can look it up and read what he had to say. And sometimes there's like 2 entries and sometimes there's like 22 entries. Because the month of November, he's had all of these things that we're grateful for. And I'm just, he's made me work for it this month. Some months have been easier than others. And frequently the Bible quote, I got nothing with the Bible quotes. Giving and receiving are a continuum. They are on the same plane, and you can't give in order to receive, but you can receive in order to give. Okay? It defeats the purpose of giving just to get. It defeats the purpose of giving. Gifts, I'm going to use the word should be, well, okay, maybe I don't want to use, are best freely given with no thought of reward, no thought about what you're going to get back. But receiving is different, because when you receive, then you are giving the gift of allowing somebody else to give. There is that quote, it's more blessed, it's better to give than to receive, which we take a little bit of issue with, because one of the reasons being is that when you are on the receiving end, then you are giving the gift of allowing someone to give to you. Again, with no thought of reward. We don't think about it when people give things to us. We don't think about the gift that we are giving to another person if they are, if they're trying to give us a gift. But it is. And it's really hard for givers to receive. So ask yourself how well you take a compliment, and then figure out if you're a giver or a receiver. And then when it is hard for you to receive, whatever it is, think about that. Think about that you are giving the gift of allowing somebody else to give. And that may help for anybody who struggles to receive. Okay, so he starts out by saying, we all wish to receive, but how many of us desire to give? And it might depend on what we desire to give. For some people, it's easy to give money, and for some people, it's easy to give time, and not the other. So if that makes sense. You don't have to give everything, although a little bit later on he's going to say you do. But we'll talk about that. You got to find out what you can give, what it is within you. If you don't have the time to give, then, and I'm talking about like to a charity organization, if you don't have the time to volunteer, then money is a great option. But if we're talking about children in your life, you better make time, because money ain't gonna do it. All right. That's a soapbox. Wow. If, as Jesus intimated, receiving is the other end of giving, which is why I said it's a continuum, then the more we give, the more we shall receive. And then he quotes, Who loses his life shall find it. And that maybe you'll see, I think Joseph Campbell is credited with saying, it's time to stop living the life you thought you were going to have and start living the life you have. And it's kind of the same with here. It's like, hey, wait, this is the life you thought you were going to have, but it didn't work out that way. But you're not living the life that you actually do have and making the most of what you do have. Okay. So let go of the idea and live what you do have and make the most of it. Make the best of it, because you've got everything you need right now to live that life. And as you live the life that you have, then it will bring more to you, and it may get closer to your idea, or you might find that you're a whole lot happier living the life that you have, not the life that you thought you wanted. Okay. We should give the best that we have to one another and to the world. And I absolutely agree with that. We should give the best that we have. And I'm not talking Cain and Abel here. I'm talking about doing your best, thinking your best, appearing your best, speaking your best. And he's going to talk about using your gifts. It's like you absolutely are the best version of you that you could be, because God has this wonderful idea of who you are. That's who you want to give to the world. You want to give God's idea of you to the world, not society's idea of you to the world, not your parents' idea of you to the world, and probably not even what you think you are to the world. Go back and look and think, well, what's God's idea of me? Because God isn't judging you. God is just loving you. What's God's idea of you? That's what you want to give to the world. That is the best of you. And then you're going to come back at me and go, well, how do I know what God's idea of me is? That's where prayer and treatment and meditation and reading this kind of stuff comes in. So, this gift of life is made without effort. It is complete abandonment of the self to life. That's with the capital L. A conscious letting go of all the tight strings of our being. A loosening of the divine gifts within us. What are your divine gifts? I can't answer that, but what I can tell you is the guidepost to find out what your divine gifts are where is your passion? What is it that sparks joy in you? What is it that sparks love in you? What is it that you love to do? And do that. Give that to the world. I joke about having a mortgage paying job, and it is a mortgage paying job because some days it is hard, but it truly is what I love to do. I love to help people, and I have multiple ways to do that, to assist people. And fortunately, I found a job that pays me to do that, and it's a job that I happen to be pretty good at. And then I get to do things like this, which I also love. So those are those I would say that those are probably a pretty good clue to what my divine gifts are. And if somebody comes in and tries to tell me that I'm not good at either one of them, I'm just not gonna listen. Because here's the thing. If you don't think I'm good at what I'm doing right now, you don't have to listen. But I can still do it. So that's what he means. I think that's what he means about loosening all of the tight strings of our being. Because we have been told who we are and who we should be, and we have been bound up in these rules that aren't real. On yesterday, on the live stream, Jesse was talking about, there's only one rule. There's one. Every other rule is made up. Every other rule is made up. And those are the tight strings. God gave us, our Spirit gave us life. He gave us the gift of life with no strings attached. And then we've attached all the strings to it. Only when we have learned to give all will we be in a position to receive all. I got nothing for you there. I suggest you take that into meditation. Only when we have learned to give all will we be in a position to receive all. When you are fully open to the Spirit, then the Spirit will be fully open to you. Not because Spirit has not been fully open to you, but because you haven't been fully open to Spirit. So, yeah. Today, I give myself unstintingly to life. I unloose the well springs of my being and make a complete deliverance of the self to life. Okay, so I have eclectic music tastes, and I bought the Bon Jovi 2020 album. And it's hard to listen to, because a whole lot of those songs talk about a whole lot of the stuff going on in the world right now. Actually, a lot of it's going on in this country right now. And so some of the songs are hard. And in one of those songs, he talked about, they say we start dying the day we're born. And I'm quoting here, paraphrasing here. But we deserve to live before we die. There's a whole lot in between, but it's the chorus of the song. And that just struck me, because we're dying every single day, a little bit every day. We're not going to live forever in this body. The essential kernel of us will continue once we shed this mortal coil. But we deserve to live before we die. Before we shed this mortal coil, we deserve to live. So, give yourself unstintingly to life. I do this spontaneously and with joy, withholding nothing. Oh, how many of us live spontaneously and with joy? We do it in fits and starts and bits and pieces. It's time we do it a little bit more. I mean, within reason. I do love my job. So. But I don't withhold anything in my job, which is why I come home tired. I will not do this with any hope of reward, but with the glad joy of the opportunity to increase my own living. And maybe that is the reward, to increase our own living. We deserve to live before we die. Everything that I have belongs to the world. And he means that. Everything that I am belongs to the world. The world needs me to be in it. So everything you have belongs to the world, because the world needs you to be in it. The world needs you to be in it right now. Whatever it is that you are doing, the world needs. Even if you don't think that you are making any difference at all in the world, you are. Because we make differences in ways we don't understand. Giving, I will receive the world back into my own consciousness. Okay. So, today is good. Tomorrow will be even better. And that vista of tomorrows that stretches down the bright eternities of the endless future will all be good. For the nature of reality, that's what the capital R, cannot change. The nature of God cannot change. The nature of God is good. The nature of God is creation. The nature of God is love. So today, our mission today is to tell ourselves that today is good. And to give ourselves with spontaneity and joy to the world. All right, beloveds. Speaking of that job, I gotta go. So, I encourage you to do something loving for yourself. Do something Do something loving for yourself. Do something compassionate for yourself. Do something kind for yourself. I'm about to start making up new words. Is what happened there. It is brilliantly cold out there right now. It's awesome. I did go for a walk, so I encourage you to do something to engage your mind and your body. You may not want to open your windows today, but then again, hey, depending on the temperature you like it in your house, you might. But I would encourage you to open the windows of your soul and allow the breath of heaven to remind you that you live in heaven now, to remind you that you are a beloved child of Spirit, in whom Spirit is well pleased, now and forever. Always. You live in the state of grace. Give yourself to the world and watch the world give itself back to you in spontaneous and unexpected ways. All right, beloveds, do what you need to do to make it a fantastic day. And I will see you tomorrow at 9 a.m., but Reverend David will see you at 5 p.m. today. So y'all have a wonderful day. All right?